Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. Today I'm just going to really quickly show you how to sharpen up a hook. Believe it or not, there's a lot of controversy over this. If you ask one guy, he'll tell you one thing, and if you ask someone else, they'll tell you another. And I've had this debate, I can't even explain to you how many times over my years of working in various tackle stores. And I've done some experiments myself, and I've tried sharpening hooks one way and I've tried sharpening them another. And there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do it. So here's a couple of hook files that I always carry with me. I'll loop these onto a back sack or throw it in my tackle box, whatever. Usually a tackle box has a little loop on it, and I'll put this through the loop and then put it through itself and attach it on there. And that way, these two I always carry with me. The bigger one I'll generally use for trebles, and the smaller one for small little single hooks and whatnot. Simply because you don't want to use a small hook on this. This is a rougher grade, and you don't want to use a larger hook on this smooth stuff because you're liable to damage it. The surface is pretty, this is almost like emery paper. Big hook will leave gouges in it potentially. So the other debate that you have is, which direction do you sharpen the hook in? A lot of people are of the belief that you sharpen hooks this way, and that is going away from the point. And I used to do this back in the day. I thought that's how you would sharpen a hook, and sure, they do get somewhat sharp, but that is not the right way to do it. If you think about it on a microscopic level, supposing that this smaller file is actually a hook point greatly magnified, if I were to pull it along away from the point along this file, what's going to happen is you're going to get a little buildup of metal on the end. It's microscopic, but it'll be there, and it's what is referred to as a burr. When you're sharpening anything, you get a burr. And anyone that sharpens anything will tell you that you don't want to sharpen away from that point. You want to sharpen towards. You want that point to be sliding along the file to get that burr back and get a nice sharp, crisp cutting edge there. So if this were a hook and I was pushing it along, I would be getting rid of the burr, pulling it back, and leaving this as a crisp, sharp point. You can imagine if I did it this way and then turned it and did it in the other direction, I would get a nice sharp triangular point there, and that's exactly what you want to have on your hook. Whereas if you did it this way and then that way, you'd end up with a double burr. When a fish hits that burr's got to crumple back first or push its way through unsmoothly, if that's a word, and you'll get much better hookups doing it the other way. So that being said, let's get right to sharpening this treble. First thing you want to do is hold the hook right. I can't tell you how many people will hold their hook like this and go ahead and sharpen it, and it's just downright dangerous. Put your thumb against the two hook points that you don't want to sharpen, your other finger on top of it, and your other finger on the shaft, on the shaft of the hook, the shank. And that leaves your other two fingers there to hold your lure. Just get it out of the way. So there you go, you've got that nice firm grip on the hook. It's not going anywhere. And you need that because you need to keep the same angle when you're sharpening. So what you're going to do with the treble is sharpen one side, sharpen the other side, and then sharpen just the top end of it. You can't get to the inside very easily. You could do this little microscopic movement over and over and over. That's kind of ridiculous. No one really bothers. What you want to do is put an edge here, an edge there, and an edge on the back, and that's all you really need. This hook's relatively sharp already. It's just going to need a touch-up. So there's two sides to this file. One's a little smoother and one's a little rougher. The rougher one's if you need to do some real reconstructive work, if you've hit a rock and one of your trebles is, you know, really dull, or sometimes a piece of wood will do that, or even a fish. If you catch enough fish, they'll dull it, but you should never get it to that degree of dullness. But anyhow, this one just needs a quick touch-up, so I'm going to go on the smooth side, give it about 5 times at this angle. I know I did 6, and same amount on this side. Just moderate pressure. You don't have to push down on it. Some people will wet this stone. It does help. What you want to do is just keep the same pressure in the same direction and the same angle if possible. So and then this way, right along the top. And now if we touch that, oh, tacky, very nice. That's a good sharp hook. And I can tell you that's going to set into a fish no problem. And that's my test. A lot of people will check the sharpness of the hook by pushing it into the top of their fingernail. Does work, but you know, after a while of checking hundreds of hooks or even dozens with the different points, you're going to end up with some pretty lousy looking fingernails. But I just push it into my finger, and your thumb kind of is the same consistency as the top of a fish's mouth. And if it can just start to poke in, you don't want to draw blood, but you just want to feel that it's gripping. If your hook just slides over, if this were a dull hook and I checked it and it would just slide over your hands and wouldn't really start to penetrate, then it needs sharpening. And this one looks pretty good. Very nice. This, by the way, is an excellent lure pattern for casting off the rocks late fall, about this time of year, November, for steelhead and mouth of your favorite river. Which is why this hook pretty much got dull on me. Pretty happy to say that it was a good fish day. Got to get out there again, so thanks for joining me. See you next time.